All right, I think we're live. Yay. Hello. You guys, I'm really excited. One, I'm coming live on my page, which for whatever reason, I haven't done in a while. And it's all good. I've got a special guest today. I've got a beautiful friend with me, and I can't wait to tell you all the things. But I wanted to start off with saying hi, for one. Like, it's a beautiful day on a Thursday here. It's a lot of momentum running. Can you feel it? Like the energy in just today, and that momentum can be going two different directions depending on where we are in our experience. Miranda and I, my friend Miranda Sommer, who's here, we're going to share with you some beautiful information to connect you back to you. And before we do that, I just want to kind of chat. Like, we were talking, we kind of caught up a little bit yesterday, and we were taking this little trip down memory lane. And what I love about it is I haven't just known you for 4 years that feels like I've really known you, because we got to know each other deeper, but we've known each other for near 9 years now.
Yes.
Which is part of the reason that you're on my feed right now. And the other reason is you really helped me gain back my health in a way that I didn't even realize was so impactful. And for those of you who are tuning in and are joining us, one, first of all, welcome. And second, I want to introduce you to Miranda. Miranda has devoted her life in less than those 9 years to really finding solutions that didn't only work for her, but really improved her health. And her work today is a result of passion and devotion and dedication and knowing inside that there was a better way. There was a better way for herself, her family, and for others. And it began for her and showed up as this beautiful catalyst for health, for weight loss, but not for all the reasons that most of us want to lose the weight. And so, Miranda, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and feel free to let it go with wherever you want to share in that story. And then we're going to kind of like take people back in a little memory lane and recreate a timeline in our stories together, which I think will be really fun.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much. Like, this is so fun because like you said, right before we got on, we caught up a little bit yesterday. We can always kind of pick up where we left off and dive right into where we're going, which is super fun. And we've had similar paths, and we just keep kind of reconnecting. And it's so fun to look at this. And right before we got on, we were sharing some pictures of where we just were, you know, when we met. We have pictures of when we met at an event. And this event, and I don't even know that I told you this until yesterday, right, is this was a very pivotal event in my life where I was kind of hitting a rock bottom place, and I felt called to be there. And it was the pivotal moment that I made some major decisions to change literally everything in my life. And the result of that, I would have never been able to imagine. So we won't fast forward to where we are now yet.
No, I'm going to share the picture and
share the picture.
What I think is fun, like, even now that you're saying this, I'm like, things are starting to like pop back in, and like the timeline, I'm like, oh, I, in this picture, before you see it, was in a place where we had just lost everything and we're starting over. I was rediscovering who I was. I was playing with event planning. I was, you know, in this realm of health and wellness and taking myself into an experience that I thought was next. But it was the catalyst for everything else that came from that moment on. So it's so good. I'm going to press welcome the picture, and then we can kind of talk about this, if that sounds good. Okay.
It's super fun. So I think we looked back as this pops up. I think it's 2015.
Is it showing?
Let's see.
Share it again. I'm going to remove. Why don't you share it again, and we'll pop it up.
Right, yeah. Let me try to share it again. Like, tech is amazing when it works for us.
It is. Right? We're like, oh, we're so tech savvy, and so we're not.
It's right here. We'll find it.
It's going to be fabulous.
Let me open it up again real quick. Sorry for the delay, folks. We got it. We've got it. Here we go. There it is. Here we are.
There we go. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. There we are.
There we are. So this is 2015. And as you preface the kind of where you were at that point in time. So right before this, I had hit a low with my health. I just had my daughter was about a year old, and I was exercising, trying to lose weight, and I almost had a heart attack or a stroke experience. And the doctors told me I was fine. And I literally felt I was crazy. And it was a podcast that, I related to someone's story, and it's what got me to this event.
Right.
And so this event was very pivotal. So the people that I met there, I felt like I started to find this whole new world of people that understood wellness and understood what I wasn't crazy for asking questions about food and health and functional medicine and how the body worked. And it was just, I never had experience like that. This experience in the people that changed my life. And it's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing today. It gave me the courage to go, okay, yeah, I'm not dreaming anymore. This can happen. And everything started to shift from there in this picture. So, and like we were saying, we had a connection from the beginning, and who would have known, like, the way we could have, would have progressed kind of on these parallel paths across the country, mind you, right? So you're there in California, and I live in outside of Louisville, Kentucky, in southern Indiana, just across the river. So literally almost opposite sides of the country.
Right.
Yep. And I kind of blindly flew out to this event. Like, I just heard a podcast and booked a plane ticket. I know, except a call. I just know I needed to be there. I knew I needed to be there.
So this is like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. So one, let's talk about that for a second. That pull, that absolute, this makes absolutely no sense, but I know that I need to be in the room. I know that I need to connect with this person. Mm-hmm. I know that this is that next leap for me in ways I don't even have words for. Mm-hmm. And before I would have said, oh, isn't that cool? And now, like, just, I don't know about you, but that's that inner knowing. That's that beacon from within. That's like, please follow this. Everything you're looking for is on the other side of that unknown.
Yes.
And
I think I was going to say, I think that's when I met my knowing.
Yeah.
That's when I met my knowing, and I leaned into it for the first time and learned how to use it. Like,
how to trust you, how to literally listen and fall in, even if it meant energy is going to rearrange itself a little bit, right?
Actually, maybe a lot. Actually. So yeah, the what unfolds from this story is actually pretty insane from here. But happy to take that. Yeah.
Because so then we went on our way. I think we stayed in connection a little bit, and then of course life hit for both of us. Like in this picture, I had just gone through with my husband a collapse of a business we'd had for almost 30 years. Our entire incomes, everything kind of hit back in 2008 with that big economic downturn and the Fannie Mae and all the things. And we were in building industry. And so we had this huge collapse, and we met stress, like serious stress, for the first time in our lives. We've handled stress, and the way we handled it was by taking care of ourselves and exercising and the things that we thought we knew that were helping. When this had gone down, 2015, it was 2 years after the collapse of all those things, when we had said, enough's enough, I can't keep going like this anymore. And we were picking up the pieces, and I was rediscovering who I was. And so if you've heard any part of my story, literally this moment was like, I think I want to be a strength and conditioning coach. I'm going to do it part-time. We're going to scramble and pick up the pieces. I was, doing accounting for all different businesses who had gone through a similar downsizing. And I'm like, this is beautiful. And I love this. And I want to know why people do what they do and why they don't do what they do, because we have the power to take back our health.
Yes.
But the mind part of it got me thinking. And I remember the day where I was like, there's more. I don't know what it is, but there's more. And so it's like you drop that intention into the world, and the resources and the people begin to show up. Right after this, I had decided to change my life. I thought what I was doing was healthy. I thought everything I knew was maintaining and handling the stress. And what happened between now, this picture, and 2 years later was a couple amazing things. One great, one not so great. The not so great in my perception was I ballooned 25 pounds out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden I was having some hot flashes and I'm like, you just go get the creams and you do the thing because you're just getting older, I guess. And I'm like, but I'm like in my 40s. That seems weird. Right. So I went and did it. I didn't advocate for myself and I just started doing whatever I needed to do. And poof, like it felt like overnight.
Yeah.
And it literally, now I know, was adding to a stress response that I was passing off as, I'm fine. All's well. I'm good. I'm used to that. Right. And my body's like, enough is enough. Simultaneously, I'm exploring life and redefining myself. And I'm like, everybody keeps saying, write a book about your experience, write a book. So I did. And I wrote it with a toolkit on what I knew to be the best at the moment. And I promise you, that was 2017. And I think you have a picture in between. I don't know if you want to share it, but
it was the following year. Like we did
two of these events. Like I was playing in this, I love this event. I love bringing people together. I love being able to connect. And I didn't have the language for it.
Do you see the other one now?
Yeah, that was beautiful. And so here we are the year later, right?
Yeah.
And we're discovering things. But the most important impact from this is there was this part of me with this pull that you can do this, you can share this thing. And there's part of you in this pull of there's a better way and I'm on to something, right?
Yes.
And at this way we part, we go on with our lives. I end up writing my book and being invited on stage and speaking and walking into a world of coaching that I knew nothing. This is what I knew for coaching, strength and conditioning. Right? I had no idea, but remember, I planted the seed. I want to know more about mindset. And so all of these relationships were rearranged and I got beautifully landed into that next piece to challenging all my fears, my visibility. And I'm going to tell you something. It activated everything in me that showed me where my inner work was next. Because I had things to share with people and I was so afraid within me. And it landed me into where I'm at now. And if I hadn't have followed those breadcrumbs, I wouldn't be here. And that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you take it from here and then we'll connect in our health stories because I think that's really important.
So I have a similar thing about where things were falling apart. So in these pictures, what happened prior to that is I have been on a weight loss journey my entire life. Like literally since I was 8 years old, I've battled my weight. And looking back, you know, I felt so chubby at the time, but I wasn't as big as I thought I was. But that constant quest of trying Weight Watchers and doing all of these things, and you know, in my early 30s, had stacked up to where I was 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I was an elementary school teacher at one point in time. And because I just wanted to be the best mom that I could be, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a mother. And so in my early 30s, after chasing career and moving around with my now ex-husband, it's part of the story, it brought me to a place where even though I was trying to become healthier, it wasn't working. Like it was ballooning. Like you'd lose a little bit and you'd gain twice as much back. And I'm a very driven person. Like I've always been a doer, like overachiever, like I can motivate myself to do anything. Yeah. Like I felt crazy, like at the amount of effort I was putting into this, and I'm not getting the results that I want. And I know the people can appreciate that. That's kind of why I do what I do now, is because I know people are trying. Right. And at this point, so I had 2 children and I had lost 70 pounds in order to become pregnant when they told me I couldn't. Part of my journey, part of my story, which I can always elaborate on that bit. So it wasn't true. Conventional medicine gave me some bad news that devastated my life. Right. And I set out to prove them wrong, but I gained 70 pounds while I was pregnant, doing the things that I did to lose weight. The things I did to lose 70 pounds, I kept doing, and I still gained 70 pounds while I was pregnant. Cooper, when he was born, he's now 12. He struggled eating. And long story short with that, I took him to every doctor. They basically stereotyped me because I put my weight back on, that I was trying to overfeed my child that wasn't eating at all. Couldn't get in front of a specialist. And he nearly died until I took him to a chiropractor, which I'm certain saved his life. So it's another blessing in hitting walls with a conventional medicine. It caused me to ask the question and become my own advocate, become the advocate for my son. And so this is actually after the birth of my daughter, my second child, who is now 9. And I was so sick. So I just kind of attributed it to the pregnancy. Again, I couldn't eat anything. I was so sick, still gained 70 pounds. So I lost 70 pounds after Cooper got better, lost that 70 pounds again, gained it back while I was pregnant, not eating, super sick, absolutely miserable. And I just thought it was the pregnancy. But then after she was born, I felt even worse. And I did what I knew to do. I pushed myself, right? And when she was 3 days old, I was down in my basement on my elliptical machine trying to lose the weight. And that continued. I willed myself, through, but I was very sick. I had debilitating brain fog. I had heart palpitations all the time. I blackout migraines. And these pictures are about when I hit that crash, because I had an event where I was going to leave on vacation to leave my kids for the very first time when Emerson was 9 months old. And I felt so bad. I was like, I can't leave without making sure that I'm okay. And that's where, I basically had a heart attack in the doctor's office. And they gave me a nitroglycerin pill. I passed out, threw up, they put me in my car, told me to drive across town to the cardiac unit. And yeah, I literally asked, I said, you want me to get in my car? And they're like, the doctor, I will never forget, said, you drove here, didn't you?
Wow.
And the tone in his voice was just like that. And I was like, I knew I was alone. I knew. And then I spent the whole day in the cardiac unit, and they told me that I was fine and I could go to the emergency room if I needed further care. And I sat there and I asked them, I said, I went to the emergency room and I ended up here. How is it going to be different?
Right.
And they couldn't give me an answer. And things like that
the mystery can't have the answer. Don't know, right?
Yeah.
Can't tell you. And so not your same story, but like underneath this picture, here I am, heaviest I was in my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The funny part was I spent my entire life chasing 5 pounds for my validation, my worth, my value.
Mm-hmm.
So to be there on the flip side of it, and I was controlling my weight and being in control. Like I was not in control. My body was talking. And I really heard it say, I literally heard it say, when you learn to love me, it'll all fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And like in the corner crying because, and it's such an emotional journey with our bodies. And we spend so much time forcing and thinking we know and doing all the things. And they're really loving us and wanting us to connect in, to listen, right? And when we look back like this, we can say, oh, there are these moments, but yet that moment had to happen.
It had to happen.
It had to happen to bring us where
it is.
I'm
glad it happened. Like, I'm so glad it happened.
Right. And so we can spend our time in the past, or we can decide in this moment what we want to create next.
Yes.
And I think the energetic shift of that, it's so impactful in the work I do with my clients today. It's energetics, it's emotion, it's mindset, it's all those pieces, but it's also our frequency, like what we're willing to feel in our body, how we're willing to connect. And so many of us are walking around disconnected, lost, numb, and we're Netflixing it, we're drugging it, we're eating it, we're numbing it, we're doing all the things to avoid feeling. And yet in that moment, in the feeling, the connecting within is where that inner guidance, that inner pull, that inner nudge comes from.
It's that inner nudge that kept me asking the questions, like, the right questions that got me to where I was. Like, I would have never. So after that, like, heart attack, I just started research. I was researching prior to that, but I heard a podcast, and someone's story is what drew me out to the event and why I met you. I literally blindly flew across the country. I'd never been to an event before. I'm like, who am I to go here? These are going to be all these healthy people. Who am I to come here? Like, what is this? And it changed everything for me, because it made me feel like I wasn't crazy. I felt understood. Like, these people were talking about what I was talking about, and my knowing wasn't off. Like, it validated what I was, feeling. And
I love I love that, Miranda, because like, and then in my journey later, I had this opportunity to fly to Texas, and I don't do that. I'm a mom. Like, why would I go? But I knew I had to be in the room, and my mentor was sitting right there. Like, it's impactful. And I'm so glad you did what you did. And I'm so glad that like we've come back around. I would really love for you to share what you've created.
Absolutely. Well, and the good news of all of this is we found a better way. So I left this event and I changed everything in my life. So I did focus on my health because that's what I was passionate about. But health is not just food. And so as a functional medicine practitioner, so I literally left like this event and I signed up for something called FDN. I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. And so functional medicine is the study of the root, like the root cause, like how the body knows how to heal itself. We just have to get out of its way, and understanding how the body works as a whole and addressing the root cause of everything. And so as a teacher, that makes so much sense to me. I'm an elementary teacher, and FDN's slogan is educate, not medicate. So everything lined up, and I really found the passion that I needed. And I committed at this event, I committed to not only am I going to figure this out for myself, but I already had committed to helping other people because I knew I wasn't alone, because I heard somebody else's story and all the people that I met there. I was like, I now am feeling tapped into the something bigger that I always felt that there was, that I was working toward, but didn't know what it was. Like I felt like it literally hit me while I was out there.
Absolutely. You landed into it, right?
Like
here's the story. Here's that purpose.
And so to fast forward through that, it started FDN. After the day that I graduated from FDN, I asked for divorce. That had to change. We were moving in two opposite directions in our life. I realized that a lot of my health issues were because I was just lonely and miserable. I was not in a match with where I needed to be. And that was a big thing that needed to change. And that was a leap of faith because I didn't have a job. I didn't have any income. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had two small kids. I had nothing.
Right.
But I joined a mentorship of practitioners, another one of the best, I'm so glad I made that investment in myself. And so that was probably well over 5 years ago, probably 6 years ago now. And that's where I learned from the best of the best in the industry and made some amazing connections. And so fast forward through that, having that imposter syndrome, walking through the door, being in a room full of naturopaths and doctors and chiropractors that are all educated in health. And here am I, still pounds overweight. Like, who do I think I am walking into? That's the way I felt when I started there. And, but just had this conviction and this fire in my heart that I knew there was a way. And, so fast forward to where we are now. I not only started my practice, but I built a transformational health and weight loss program based on, like I call it, like the owner's manual you'll need for your body that you never got.
Right.
You understand the way that it works. Because when we create health, all symptoms alleviate, weight being a big one. And so we were thinking about weight loss completely wrong. We're thinking about what is the magic math formula of macros and calories or fat grams, carbs, and then minutes of exercise, right? Like, how do I undo my cheesecake? That is not the way this works. Like, not even close. So we literally have to throw out everything that we think we know and think about the stress response, which is going to dictate everything in disease and dysfunction and health. And when you understand that your body's always working for you and reacting to an input, it's like a remote. You put the volume up button, it's going to go up. And your body's the same way. It's wired very primally. And when we think about it that way, then things start to make sense. And that's what I want it to be. I needed it to make sense for me because the things they were telling me weren't making sense. And until it made sense, I wasn't going to do it, right? Because I've been burned so many times. And so, so the Reset with Miranda program now, we've helped over 700 people in 4 years. And I just relaunched it yesterday to move it from, it was a 12-week program where people were really building all these amazing skills, but I realized they just need the place. They need the place to come and hang out, and have the energy of the community and the support. And so I turned it into a 1-year program because my goal is to reach many, 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 many people with the basics that they were never given. And it's the joy of my life to use the struggles that I've been through and watch people take the information that I've been able to glean from those things and people to take that and transform their lives. It's the most rewarding thing ever. And, you know, there was a knowing in me then that was possible. There's no way I would have been able to see what could happen.
You had to live it first.
You know, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all of the challenges because there were a lot. There were a lot of really hard things that happened, a lot of really hard decisions that had to be made, and a lot of conviction and a lot of faith and a lot of risk. But I wouldn't change a thing. I really wouldn't.
No, because it aligned you and who you are and what you want and why you want it. And, you know, there's so many ways that we have available to us to experience this growth, to experience evolution. But when we land into that alignment and we're able to realize the purpose of all of those other pieces in our life, we literally collapse old triggers and begin to move ourselves into the synchronicity and flow of, oh, this is what I follow. Right? We can't access that when we're all stressed and in our head and our bodies in fight or flight, and it's just trying to scramble to breathe.
And basically, we can access that when the messages are mixed up because the stuff that's floating around in our blood is like creating a fog. Like we can't, there's no clarity there. I had the worst brain fog in the world. Yep. And I didn't understand, you know, why I was a type 2 diabetic doing the keto diet for 5 years. I eliminated fruit as a food group for 5 years. And I went diabetic. And I didn't understand why until
I love this, and I want to land because literally the first time I did reset with you, I'm like, you meet yourself in all your resistance. You meet yourself in all these beliefs. It's fascinating, and you were there every step of the way. And I remember, like, seriously, fruit, dude, like, and you're like, I know, and it's okay. Go ahead and eat it. And
we can't eat that. We can't eat fruit. And I'm like, no.
It was all the, like, what's good, bad, what's this, what's that. It's like, oh my gosh, we get so wound up in everyone else's perception of what's good for us that we don't even listen to what's saying our bodies are telling us. And it's ever changing, and it's growing, and it's evolving just like we are. And so what I do know is I have had nothing but success on this program with you. And it was the most, I've done a lot of programs, and it was the most foundational piece that I've always come back to. And so I'm human, and I will veer from what I know works like anyone else.
Like right? I do. That's why I teach it, because it's like you have to know that and allow it.
It's not about the one and done. It's about what's next, right? Yeah. And so again, not living in the past, moving forward. And so it's so funny, you know, we've come together like about every 2 years, which is so amazing, this connection, this power of two that brings us together. And we've met ourselves in new places. So when I met you, it was enough is enough. You pop on the screen, and I want you to share those if you can find the slides, but the pictures of your before and after. And I'm like, I have just been through elimination diets. I have been through baseline, taking myself off of hormones. What is my baseline? Am I kicking out hormones? Where's my stress? I mean, 2 years, tens of thousands of dollars I didn't have in searching the one answer that was consistent. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. That nobody knows.
Nothing shows anything is wrong with you until a functional medicine doctor said, let's look at all these other markers. And have you gone through any stress lately? And you know what I actually said? No, I'm good.
You're good, huh? Right? Yep.
How about your whole life? Did you ever like restrict or, oh yeah, I used to starve myself. And I used to do all the things as a teenager thinking that was the way to, you know, be the thinnest and have the acceptance. And she goes, yeah, your body kind of gets to a point where it's like, I'm done. And all of that matters now.
Yeah.
So
that was exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
The big precursor was the end of our business and all of that stress. Yes, 2 years later, we didn't have that stress, but the damage was done. And it was just unfolding. And my body was like, hey, we really need you to listen. Yeah. And so I found you at that moment. And I remember that picture of us. I remember the journey. I remember our tearful, beautiful connection conversations. And then you show up online. And I'm like, okay, I have a pretty princess story running, and I need I need to land into what this is.
Yeah.
And
so there,
yeah.
Yeah. So this is right about like that picture wasn't probably too far off from this. This is when it was my heaviest. It actually was a year or two prior, because I had already lost some weight. I was doing paleo and things like that. But that's exactly what happened to me is my body shut me down.
Yeah.
And if I had gone to work out one more time, because it was the only thing, I know that I would have died. I know that I would have, because I know what I was pushing against. And I know my iron will. Like I would have pushed through it just because I can. Like I wore that as like a badge of honor. Like
absolutely. Just like busyness, just like all the things we do, right? Like we can do it. We can take more.
I can do hard things. And so, and I felt like I was a failure if I wasn't figuring it out. So like I can will myself through it instead of listening to my body. And that's why I'm super thankful for that moment, because it forced me to stop. I was down for like 90 days after that. And that's why I started to learn, about the stress response. And, I had lost and gained 70 pounds kind of on my own, just cleaning up my diet, but that wasn't enough. So I had done paleo, I had done Whole30, I had done the autoimmune paleo diet. Like I had cleaned it up, keto, every version that I knew how to do before I even started my own reset. So I have used the principles in the reset, because here's the thing too. Cleaning up your diet and getting to what we're designed to eat is one thing. Like getting the right fuel in your body. That's step one. We've got to do that. Eating real one ingredient foods is what I say. That's step one. But when we find ourselves in a state of metabolic dysfunction where you're carrying all of this extra weight or symptoms from stress, we have to one up that. We have to hack our biochemistry. How do I get to healing?
Right.
And what our body needs to heal is almost a different modality than what it needs to just be. Does that make sense? Yep. So like when you are sick with the flu, you do something different than you do on a daily basis. So in order to get on top of it to lose weight, I had to figure out what healing looked like and how do I send all of the right messages to my body at the same time. And a lot of that can be done with food, but we need to incorporate some other things. Like, so one of the fads right now is intermittent fasting. Well, everybody's doing that wrong. Let me tell you, because the most important thing about fasting is what you eat. What do you use to break the fast? Like, what is the messages being sent to the body? And we're not thinking about food as messages. We're thinking about food as numbers. But there's nothing in our brain that's designed to think about food like that. We're designed to find food and eat it. We're designed to love it and do it again, survival, which is why we feel addicted to food. We just have the wrong foods that we put into our body. We're never supposed to be there, and we're addicted to poison, not the foods that we're supposed to have. And so we need to pack all of that. There's so much emotion to it. There's so much guilt and shame tied to the things that we've tried and we feel like we've failed. And my main message is that you did not fail. The system and the messages and the plans that you tried before are what failed you.
Right. And my message is we're not broken and there's nothing to fix. There's just what we didn't know. And there's now moving forward with what you do know and what you want.
When we know better, we can do better. And until then, we can't. And that's my conviction, is people just don't know. They just don't know, because I know for a fact they're trying. I mean, the weight loss industry is millions and trillions and billions of dollars, and they're spending money on plans that are making them sicker. And so is conventional medicine. Like, don't get me started on type 2 diabetics. Like, it's some of my favorite things in the world to watch people come off of their medications. Like, I can't make that claim, but I can say that it happens all the time. In my group, like, we shared something yesterday. If you go on my Facebook, if you want to watch it later, I had a beautiful couple that shared their testimonies. They've been in my program just over 6 months, and he had lost 100 pounds and came off 8 medications, not a lick of exercise, 100% food. His doctors give him, like, you're just going to be on these medications for the rest of your life. And that's a crock. It's not a strategy. Right. There's no symptom in the world that is a lack of medication. Not one of them. There's a reason why it's there. It's like your body's check engine light. Something's going on. Listen to me. And by giving these people just the tools, they changed their life. He recovered from, chronic migraines, and he doesn't have a thyroid, and all of the things that they say you have issues with and you can't lose weight. That's what he was told his entire life, that he's just going to be this big, heavy guy and die in his 50s like his dad did, until he found this. and his wife lost 60 pounds in the same amount of time and reversed 3 autoimmune conditions that she told she was going to be on medications. These people saved several $1,000s a year just by investing in some time to educate themselves and learning very simply what to do.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about this is it's not a quick fix, and the only way out is through.
Yep.
And in that you learn who you are and what's important to you. And you learn an education that you didn't know and what we're not taught. And, like anything else, we take with it through our experience the first time. As humans, we get to do it again and learn even more. And we get to unwind some of the things that keep us wound up, even through the experience. And then we come into the appreciation and the gratitude for each step of the way. And, for me, I've had success from 29 pounds to 15 pounds, losing them by just bringing attention to the nurturing of my body.
Yes.
And I'm back. I've had some inflammation. I've had some things going on, and I haven't been making the choices that I know, like I hear, like what's wanting to happen. And now I'm following that. And I feel when it's leaving, I feel better. Inflammation's gone. The gut issues are gone. Everything seems to be flowing in my body better. I have energy. When I realized, I had this moment of, I've done this all along and I know what I'm doing to not stay in my own alignment. My alignment and my devotion to this vessel became way more important than what I looked like, how much I weighed. That became the benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And it took a minute to flip it. And it didn't matter when it wasn't perfect. I got results and I felt better and I got to feel who I was in that place because I chose to take care of myself. I chose the energy behind, this is my intention.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do what it takes.
And we have to, it's a journey. And that's why I changed my program from being 12 weeks to 12 months, because everybody's got a very different journey. We all do the same things together, and the community piece, it's a family. We are. Yeah. And I know that's the secret sauce, is because people need a place to come back in and say, look, I lost grip for a second. I'm going to circle back and course correct. And this is what I'm going to do. And there's no judgment here. I have grace for myself. This is what I learned. And because that's the way it's got to happen. It's not going to happen any other way.
Grace, love, and compassion.
And everybody's going to, like stumble in different places and different times. And that's totally okay. Like, myself included, like that's what I lead with. Is I tell everybody when I come in, I'm like, look, a chocolate chip cookie is always going to sound good. And you better believe every once in a while I'm going to eat them. I'm going to do it a little bit different way. And I'm going to show you why and how. But the best part of it is the freedom. Because the girl on the left, I didn't have that freedom. I was slave to food. I was so guilt and shame ridden. I felt like such a failure. My self-worth was tied up in the way that I looked. I overachieved to overcompensate for, the low self-esteem that I had. Instead of, now I'm driven by helping people win. And that's what it is. And the better that I take care of myself and I'm more intuitive with my eating and what I need to feel fulfilled. It's not about growing a business. It's about what is self-actualization. Like, what am I designed to do on this planet? What makes me feel whole? What makes me feel like I'm serving my purpose? Like we did a live news event. What is today? Today's Thursday. It was Tuesday. And my clients share their beautiful testimonies and their growth that I got to be a part of. It is the most rewarding thing ever, right? To know that, this pain has a purpose, right? It had a purpose, and it's exponentially growing because people are learning these same very basic things, and they're just able to apply them and learn them in their own time, in their own pace, in a beautiful, positive space. And they're changing every aspect of their life. It's not just their health. And weight loss is the last thing that we talk about typically. Like, oh, I've done this, and this, and oh, I've lost 75 pounds.
Yeah,
and that's my favorite. Is that because people come in for the weight, because we're so tied to the fact that if we'll just feel better, if that's the problem, right?
When this happens, then I'll feel this. right? Instead of I can feel it now and then align myself in those actions as they unfold.
Yes. As they unpack what that really means. Like what does feel better really mean? Becoming more of who you are and less of who you weren't, or that, whatever things you are holding and carrying on your body. This is just extra energy and trauma and shame. And that has to be
we all have it in
do.
different levels. No one escapes, and it's not to be feared, but it can be shifted.
Absolutely.
Which I think is powerful. So tell us, well, we'll put links obviously, but tell us the things you want us to know for when it's starting, what's going on, what's the excitement, why have I been sharing this, like all the good things, right?
I kind of want to, let me see if I can even have a slide here to show you. Can you still see my screen? Because
I can. We're so techy.
Let me see if I can. I've got just so I can scroll through here. So I don't have to show you everything today.
I just realized my cup too.
Yeah. I'll just show you a couple. So Danielle, this is Danielle. She lost 75 pounds that I was talking about yesterday. She had Graves' disease and has totally changed her mindset. And then Sally lost 60 pounds. She's like in her early 70s, so absolute rock star. And then Miranda and Dave were the couple that I was talking about, the one that lost 100 pounds and 60 pounds and all of that. So, and this is what we do, real beautiful food. I'm very passionate about people helping people understand that this is not restrictive at all. It's actually beautiful, delicious, and cooking simple, real things. Like I'm a single mom and an entrepreneur. If it's not fast and delicious and beautiful and tastes amazing, and a lot of it, like it's not going to happen, right? And I know you're super passionate about that as well.
Yep.
And so the program it's truly everything. And we designed this brand new, beautiful box. Like the teacher and me got to really think this thing out since I've helped so many people in 4 years. I've really thought it out. I built some beautiful, amazing resources that takes people on a journey over the course of a year to go through that mindset and hit you in the right, like in the beginning of the journey is very different from, 6 weeks in or 12 weeks in or 2 years in, or I'm sorry, 6 months in or whatever. Like you're going to go through a progression. There's a natural kind of mindset progression that people need to go through and build upon that. And so I like to think this, like I said, is like the owner's manual that you never got for your body. I want to teach you the how and why, and like truly the basics of this I can teach you in 10 minutes, but you need the support. And so I do group coaching calls once a week. We get together, we share wins, we celebrate, we share ideas. The energy in our group is hopping. Everybody is so beautiful. And the best part of all of this and why I rebuilt this program too, is because I've been blessed for this to be a word of mouth thing. So people have, through the power of social media, have shared this, and there's no way I would have, helped 700 people on my own. It's because people just share this. They become walking, talking billboards. People come to us, right, when they see the shifts that are happening and people telling people. So I also built a built-in kind of reward affiliate program where you can, transform for free if you want. You can get paid to tell other people, because people's story saved my life. And other people's stories are giving people hope, and they're saving other people's lives. And that's what I want to empower. I want to reward people for being vulnerable and being courageous and investing in themselves, because when you invest in yourself, everything gets better. So
it's that mystery, that mystic sauce of like, oh, you hear your mind, well, what if I do that? Or what if it's a scam? But it's like really investing in yourself and knowing you're worth it. And then looking back on that, it's priceless and what you discover about you, but it's also that thing that's different.
Yeah.
Than deciding or pre-deciding it's not for you. It's an experience. You grow, you evolve over lifetime. There are no have-tos, but who do you want to be and who do you want to meet yourself in that vision of what you want to create in your life? If that window begins with health and wellness and losing weight and understanding yourself, it's the catalyst.
It's the catalyst.
Or what comes next, because look at what you're creating and birthing into the world. We are meant to be creators.
Yes.
And every one of us has a different way of wanting to express that in the world. And the repression of that expression is literally killing us inside.
It was literally killing me. It was literally killing me. And so the other pieces of this, so not only do you get rewarded for sharing, but the most important piece is I put like a 30-day money back guarantee on this, because I understand the fear of failure. I understand that that's the biggest barrier. I understand that people have invested so much money before and wasted so much money before, and that burns. Like, I've invested like hundreds of thousands of dollars before I got to what worked.
Yep.
And so I've tried to put that education into this. And so I also made it a low price point for people. So with the 30-day money back guarantee, like, I do have a slide of what it includes, because I'm very open about the value of this. So the value of this program, of the coaching that you're going to get, is $15,000 alone, just for the time. And so my 12-week program was $1997, but I'm giving 1 year for $1997. And why I'm doing that is because I want people to have the low monthly payment, because I want to help a lot of people. And so that's like $5 a day. People are spending $5 a day wrecking their health multiple times a day, probably.
Yep.
And so I'm removing all barriers, because I understand them. I understand them better than anybody probably could. And I've talked to hundreds of people, and I've walked them through those barriers. So that there's a money back guarantee, and you can earn some money if that's an investment for you. And, if you need a low monthly payment to make it happen, because they're having a big chunk available, because life's been real hard in the last couple of years because of just the world, then I get it. Like, I get it all. So I'm going to meet you to the place where I can. And I'll tell you what, that the community is absolutely everything. And so this is what I leave people with, is this. Is I feel that there's truly there's three choices.
Right.
There's to stay that little dude on the path there.
Stay where you are.
Stuck, just paralyzed, not knowing what to do.
Right.
Because you're like giving some advice over here, and you're giving some advice here, and you're stuck. And then, taking the path of which, we're led down with all of the messaging, the marketing, and you got to turn that stuff off. You got to turn off your TV. You have to. And so, like, the pills are a mask for what your body is designed to do. There are some medications that are needed, but the majority of our problems can be solved with what we put. Like, we're killing ourselves with our forks, and we are not putting, like, the analogy I use all the time is that if you had a Ferrari or whatever your beautiful, most precious car would be, you wouldn't put Pepsi in its gas tank. You wouldn't. You value it too much to put something in it that doesn't belong there. And we don't look at it that way. We think that we're getting away with putting poison in our body, and we're not. The consequences are what we are wearing. It's what we are living through. It's the symptoms that we feel. And there is a better way. And so it is truly as simple as, the decision. And that's what I want people to know, is that we've already got it figured out. You don't have to figure out what to do. People are coming in so overwhelmed with their health and the bad information. Like, just drop that down. You just put it down right here.
Yep.
You set it right here, and just step by step, day by day, we've got you. And I say, give me 10 days and you're different. You're a different person. Different. You feel different. And once you feel it from here, you can't unfeel it.
And where you'd be 30 days in,
30
as
days.
you're meeting yourself in the money back guarantee,
right?
I promise you'll be like, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm keeping going. I'm not.
Everybody's
stopping.
like, I don't want to stop. And I said, great.
Right.
Then you got it. This is what we do. This is just what you do. And then you have a freedom. You have a freedom.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. Well, you have the freedom just to, like, I don't feel restricted in any way, shape, or form. I can have anything that I want. I want to feel amazing. I feel better at 44 than I did at 34 or 24 or 14. And I know that 54 and 64 are going to look good because I'm committed to getting better. And to feel like you could age in reverse and help people do that too. It's so fun. It's just
how you feel about it. It's the energy behind the feeling state of it. And it literally does. It's like, we also call it the transformational faceless. It's the heaviness of the deeper set emotional baggage coming off. And I mean, look at us. I mean, look at us. Look at that 15 year ago or 2015. Like, our skin is glowing and there's a difference. I'm 54. I am your 54.
Right.
And I've never felt better.
Leather pants, girl. That's what I've got to get. We've got to get a leather pants picture the next time we're together.
Shopping. That's the best leggings ever. They look like jeans or pants. You're like,
I love it. I know you can hook me up with how to get a pair. We need to do a
Yes,
picture.
I will.
Serious.
Well, thank you
But
for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your mission. What I love most about each time we've checked in with each other is we are on a similar journey.
yeah,
And
so much.
it's so fun to connect. And you and I are both going to this event that's only a
Yes.
couple hours from me. And again, you're on a plane traveling. I don't know why you're going where you're going, and you're landing
Yes.
into this place,
Yep.
and we're meeting there, and it's
Yeah.
so much fun. Just for our story.
Yeah. That's for our story. We get to take some more pictures and change that and share it some more, right? Like
Yeah.
we're just the concept. The similar factor is the desire to grow.
Yeah.
And at the human potential, like we're designed for that. All of us are. And when we don't honor that, is why we feel so stuck. We are designed to learn and evolve and grow and create and all of these things. And when you're not doing that, it doesn't feel right. And so that intuition that people have when at the doctor's office and they just want to be better, and they're told that they just will never be better. And that's why it's just like hitting that human growth and potential thing right in the face, like saying, no, you're not allowed to grow or ask questions or be better. You just have to stay stuck. And that's not going to be acceptable for any of us. So everyone should be saying like, no, that's not okay.
It's time to break free from the burnout. It's time to break free from the multitasking and the overdoing and the exhaustion. You feel your body breaking down.
Yeah.
If health is the way that you feel it most, this is that avenue. This is that next thing that you've come across today, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I love so much about, I've sent clients your way and they've had
Mm-hmm.
great success and they feel amazing. And they've already had the foundations of, oh, this is where I've been stuck in that same thing, the shoulds, need tos, and have tos of life that told me how I needed to be, instead of knowing who I was and what I wanted and being willing to claim it. And there's room for both things. There's room for us to share this magic. There's room for us to not be in competition, but be in partnership and share those things out with the world, because I want you to help people as well. And I want to help people who have the deeper things that they need to clear through so they can get to the result that they're wanting. And so
you got to do something, digging deeper, right? Because it is. It's a mess. And so the work that we're doing together is so synergistic, and they are going to complement each other so much. So I know this isn't going to be the last time that we're doing things together. Start of like us discovering like, what have you been doing? No, what have you been doing?
Oh. Like, what are we doing? We're doing the same thing, kind of, sort of. Let's put it.
Right. Why weren't we doing this together the whole time? Remind me again. Yeah, right. It's just what happened. This is what
I'm gonna pop some links in all the spaces so people can find out more about the program. And I know that you were saying as well, like, reach out to Miranda if you have specific questions. Message her on Facebook. That's the best place.
Yeah, Facebook Messenger is great. I actually have a number that people can text me.
Okay. Can I write it as we're doing this technology thing?
Make sure I don't say it the wrong way.
Okay, I'm gonna try to type it while you say it so it posts.
Yes. So it is 812-441-4898. And if they text the word reset to that number, then I'll know that they want more information and that I can text them back. And that's just easy because people like to text. So that helps me. So it's 812-441-4898. And it's a brand new tool that I have.
I love it. I got it. I'm posting it. I think. Oh, it worked. That's a new feature. Okay, I'm loving this. This is good.
Yeah, and it pops up my contact, and I can text you, and it's super cool. And then, and resetwithmiranda.com is my website. And you can schedule a call or ask me. That's texting is super fun and super easy and fast. So I love that. But yeah, don't not reach out. Like if you're struggling, ask the questions. You have the permission to do that. Like asking for help is one of the things we need to get really, really good at. And you're gonna hear me say that over and over again because I'm asking for help all the time. I had to.
I want to know about my experience.
Like if I did not reach out for help and go across the country, then this would not be happening. And it's what we have to get really good at. And there's a faster, better, easier way. So I'm super excited to connect with people. And Michelle, it's been so fun. Like we're just getting started. I get to squeeze you in like a few weeks. This is gonna be amazing.
I know. I'm excited about it too. It's really awesome. Literally to be in this moment of getting out of my way to land into all the next things and then to reconnect with this has been pretty amazing. So I hope people we'll reach out, and I'll keep doing my part to help share the word, and we'll reach who needs to be reached. It'll be great.
Absolutely. It's gonna take an army of us to help all the people that need help, because that's my thing, is like I said, I'm not stopping until there's no one left to help.
That's right. Absolutely.
There's a lot of people suffering, and it's not okay, not on my watch. So right.
Right.
All
Absolutely.
right. Thank
Love
you,
you.
my
Thank
dear.
you. You're welcome.
Much. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye, guys.